Hello and welcome to my first video all about reading for the month of January. So I'm currently cuddled up in some pajamas and a blanket, but I'm just going to share what I read in the month of January. I just thought it would be really fun to take a hobby that I kind of put down for a while, and now that I'm married I have a lot more free time, and so I can just pick it back up. So I have my 3 books that I read in the month of January, which I'm actually very surprised that I even got through these 3 books. I wasn't expecting to get through 3 books. I was really expecting to trail off after 1 book, so I'm really proud of myself for just getting, I guess, lost in my reading. So very excited about that. So now let's get into what this video is mostly about, and that is the books that I read in January. So the first book that I picked up, I had bought a couple years back, and the main reason that I was attracted to reading it was because it took place in North Carolina, which is where I live, and more specifically in Coulee Ridge, North Carolina, which is more towards the mountains. This is the first book that I read, All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. And this book is about Nicolette Farrell, and she has left Coulee Ridge, says she is never going back, and then suddenly her dad is put into a nursing facility or a nursing home, and so she has to kind of drop everything and go home and help her brother clean out their house so that they can get the house sold. That's the gist of this book. To me, this book was not a thriller, although it was supposed to be a thriller. To me, it was more of just a mystery. There was a girl that disappeared 10 years ago. This is the basis of the mystery, is that this girl disappeared 10 years ago, and it was her best friend. And then 10 years later, somebody else goes missing. You kind of want to figure out why did these girls go missing and why 10 years apart. So you kind of get to go through everything that Nick feels as she's going back home. The interesting part of this book, which I wasn't expecting to like, is basically it starts out in the present where Nicolette is living in Philadelphia, and you get a sense of the present, and then they give you day 14, which was 14 days after the second girl goes missing, and then they take you back to day 1. So you get a glimpse into what happened 14 days after, but then you have to go back to day 1. So that was really interesting that the story is kind of told backwards. As I was reading this, I was kind of ugh, am I gonna be able to keep up with the backwards plot and be able to keep up? Basically, because it is backwards, it can be a little confusing, but I did keep up, and I kept reminding myself that the author wouldn't have written something that the reader wouldn't be able to understand. I did give this book 4 stars. The ending to me is kind of what killed that 5th star. I was expecting a little more of a climactic ending, and it really just kind of ends. And so you did figure out why these girls went missing, but I wanted a little more at the end, a little more suspense, a little more drama, whatever you want to call that. I like a drama-filled book. So this is my first book of January, 4 stars on Goodreads. And for those that are interested, there's little to no spice. There is a little bit, but it is not discussed in detail. Second book of January is a book that has been on my TBR for a really long time. It did come out almost 10 years ago, so the hype of this book, I guess, is not as hype as it once was. So my second book of 2023 is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And this book, I'm not sure why it really appealed to me, but I think it was just the rave that I had seen. So I was yeah, I want to read that. So this story is about the Sinclair family, and basically the Sinclairs have a lot of money. They have their own private island that they go to every summer that the grandparents own. And basically you have 4 grandchildren. Well, it's 3 grandchildren and a friend that are known as the Liars in this book. And as you go through this book, they kind of tell you why they're called the Liars. And you have Cadence, who is the point of view of this book. She's the one that is like telling you everything that's happening. And Cadence was the first grandchild, but she had a traumatic brain injury. It causes a lot of strife in the family because of that. You have Cadence, who is one of the Liars, and then you have Johnny and Mirren, which are cousins of Cadence. And then you have Gat, who is a friend of Johnny's, and he came one summer and continued to come the following summers. They were known as the Liars, and truly this book shocked me. There was something, like the ending definitely shocked me. I was really shocked at the ending. I don't want to like give any spoilers, but there is, the only thing that's hard to understand here is the family tree. So they do have a family tree picture at the beginning, which is really helpful. It's really good to refer back to. So I definitely referred back to that a couple times, especially when I was starting. They also give you like a map of what the island looks like, and it's in Massachusetts is where it's based in. So that was definitely a good book. I gave it a 5 stars on Goodreads because I was already captivated by this book, and like the chapters are really short, and so that it's really easy to read. So that was really nice. I gave it a 5 stars, definitely because of the ending. The ending is what shook me the most because I was not expecting that. I will say this is a no spice book. You're not going to have any spice in this book. They do talk about it, but there's no scenes. So, highly recommend this book. The prequel to this book is Family of Liars, and it's definitely on my TBR list. I have it sitting over there. That will probably be in my February reads because I'm very curious about the before in this book. A coworker of mine, very good friend, she said that she read it in like a day, and she was like, you have to read it. And I was like, okay. So I got the audiobook, and I was gonna prepare to listen to the audiobook. The audiobook goes much slower than I would like, and I don't spend that much time in the car. So it was a 9-hour long audiobook, and I felt like I could read it a lot quicker just actually reading it. So the third book was The Silent Patient, and I did enjoy reading this book. I really did. There was a lot of things. Let me go over what the story's about. So basically, Alicia Berenson is charged with the murder of her husband because one night he comes home late and he is shot 5 times in the face, and then Alicia Berenson becomes the silent patient, and she does not speak a word. Not throughout the trial, not after her conviction. So then you meet this therapist, psychotherapist, Theo, and he is the one that is writing this book, and he is intrigued as to why she chooses not to talk, or like whether she had gone mad and it was like a traumatic response to what had happened. A good read. It does have a lot of like psychology and art and some like Greek myths, I guess you would say. Not a Greek myth, but like a Greek tragedy story. And I love the psychology. Psychology has always interested me, but the art and the Greek I had a little harder time understanding. I have always had a really hard time with like riddles. So like if I'm looking at a picture, I can't pull out like all of these different meanings from it. I did enjoy the psychology aspect because you're getting it from a psychotherapist's point of view. The ending is crazy, and it hit me like there's a chapter where they're kind of like starting to reveal that like climatic ending, and before they even like said what happened, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that. Like, how did I not notice this? But I know a lot of people have had the same reaction. So I would recommend this book. There is little to no spice. If anything, nothing is described in detail. So definitely good. I gave it 4 stars on Goodread. So when I was reading it, I kind of want to just skip to the ending. So as I was reading, I was probably giving it like a 3-star. And my friend was really upset because she was like, oh my gosh, it's the best book ever. I couldn't put it down. But the ending got it an extra star. So 4 stars. I mean, overall, 2 4-star books and a 5-star book for a month of reading, that's a pretty good list of things. So 3 books that I read in January, and I'm excited to continue reading and just kind of update you guys on what I'm reading. And truly, my sole purpose in doing this is to just kind of look back and give myself a little more accountability. This is my first video. I know it's not great. I'm learning the ropes. I don't even know what to say in most of these videos, but I hope that I come across very authentic and just somebody that has like a small passion for reading, but also has a job. I'm no expert, but I'm willing to answer any question. Really subscribe to my channel. I can't wait to post some more videos. So let's get a quick thumbnail before we get out. Let's see. And that's the end. Bye guys. See you next time.